10 years ago. This year will be the 10th anniversary for the Bitcoin and for the blockchain technology. From very few people knowing about it, and lots of people, or most of people were hearing about Bitcoin or blockchain, they think it's just like a pound scheme, have lots of concerns about it, and now the majority of the world have already heard about blockchain. And lots of early people, lots of early birds have been participating in this community and this new economy. And if we see the penetration rate curve from the analysis, is very much like the early internet penetration rate. It grows very, very fast. So, what will be the most important topics in the next 10 years, or what will kind of a change we will see in the next 10 years? I think the first one will be the privacy and the security dilemma that we have been experienced in the blockchain. If we look at the Bitcoin's security model, it's kind of UTXO model. That has been proven to be working for 10 years, and it's a human readable script. If anything wrong happen, and we can identify it immediately, and the community can take immediate measure to save it. For example, Bitcoin have a kind of vulnerability to make a huge inflation, and it used to create like billions of Bitcoin in a single transaction, but the community identified it and stopped that fork, and the blockchain moved on. And recently, Bitcoin and Litecoin, Zcash, Bitcoin Cash also got the same vulnerability that it could possibly cause a chain split, and the Bitcoin can make a huge inflation inside of the code, but people can identify it. So basically, there is no real risk around it, because when it happens, people knows, and we can fix it immediately. But the UTXO model have a problem that all the transactions recorded on the chain. So the privacy is a kind of a problem, because the chain analysis service can track all the transactions. People concerned about it. And the privacy is a very important issue that no business wants really to know, to let other ones to know about how much revenue they have been making. And if you are going to restaurant and spend some cryptocurrencies, and you really don't want the business or the restaurant owners to look at your wallet address and this man must be rich, so maybe I should charge higher and give him more expensive menu to him, right? So the privacy is very important for the financial services. But the UTXO maybe is not quite perfect on the things. So people are inventing lots of new technologies that include, like, for one example, is like a ZK Snack. It's perfectly private, but the problem for such kind of system, comparing with UTXO set, is that if there is really something wrong goes inside of the system, people may be not able to identify them immediately. So there could possibly be a huge inflation happened inside the system. Attacker found a loophole, and we possibly don't know. So that's kind of a dilemma between the privacy and the security. Maybe we have to wait for some new theories, new methods to solve this. Or on Bitcoin Cash blockchain, we increased the block size to very large size, so the cache shuffle and core mixing services are relatively cheap and possible, so it can also protect the privacy of the consumers. So that is the first thing. The next 10 years, I believe, is very important. Second important thing would be the technology neutrality for the blockchain industry. Essentially, if we consider blockchain as a kind of financial market that is running bottlenecks and connecting the work together, regulations are usually kind of a very important issue for the financial market. But Bitcoin was born in a way decentralized. So no one is really in a responsibility to respond to the regulation pressure. But as this system grows larger and larger, it will be an issue that people cannot avoid it anymore. This financial network is also bottlenecks that create even more issues than we think about among the early Bitcoiners. Early Bitcoiners may only think about Bitcoin is taking away the monopoly power of governments issuing money. But actually, if you look at it around the world, no governments have a monopoly over issuing money. Even before Bitcoin was born, because American Euro, the governments are competing with each other. There are 200 governments around the world, and they are all issuing their own kind of currencies. It's a highly competitive world, so there's essentially no monopoly. So that's why Bitcoin born 10 years, and no governments is really saying, Bitcoin is our enemy, and we should take serious actions against it. However, after the ICO happened, and we see that, this is a really powerful financial market. Some kind of startups, maybe in American Silicon Valley, they raise hundreds of billions of capital in like 1 hour or two. And some other projects running a 1-year ICO process, they can raise several billion of dollars of capital during such kind of process. So this is a really huge thing. We know that retail financial consumers usually don't have the skill or knowledge to really protect themselves. And this year, we know this is bearish market. Lots of ICO investors have lost money. And such kind of world involved lots of regulation questions. If a scammer in countries A that raise money from citizens living in country B, and should country A cooperate with country B to detain this criminal or suspicious and transfer to country B, such kind of problem is serious. Or if a country B citizen have a problem, or he think he's a scam, or if he goes to his government, whether the government will really should help him. So lots of regulation issues here because it's bottlenecks, and maybe some bad guys cannot be punished. And we know some ICO fundraisers after they raise money, and lots of rumors and news on the forum you can look at. They started to have a really nice lifestyle. I think that's kind of ridiculous. So, how bad people will be punished? I think regulation should be quite important if the global financial market simplicity is our vision. But it will come to a challenge to the technology, whether the technology will be able to maintain its neutrality. I think that should be important. It should be just like internet. It should be free. But lots of regulations can also pick up on top of this technology level. But the network itself should be made free. That's my point of view. Second is about the performance. I think that's kind of a very bad translation. Right now, the blockchain users around the world is roughly like 20 million, but I think in the next decade, it could possibly that 1 billion users around the world will participate in the blockchain network. Basically, that's not a very big number if you consider how many users are using the internet, or how many people have a bank account, or how many people have invested in the stock market, or how many people having invested in real estate. Lots of people. So But if so many people are participating in the same network, we will see that the blockchain will have to increase its capacity to maybe to 10,000 times bigger than now. So it's a huge challenge for the technology. How do we increase capacities? I believe that what will happen is already being discussed as today. There are basically several ways. First is like the cross-chain, we make a sidechain. But the problem is if you want to make a decentralized blockchain, and how you make the cross-chain and two-way paths, it's a still huge problem for it. Whether you will have to sacrifice the decentralization, so you make a kind of a central authority to make it happen, or basically I think it's very insecure to make it happen. There might be some new theory leads to academic papers come up, but I doubt that it will really happen. Second is a buzzword about Lightning Network that several years ago. Lightning Network, I believe it can work pretty fine in some machine-to-machine, software use cases, but I think it will be a huge problem or even impossible to promote as a retail or retail payment, because there are lots of technological problems that stop common users to use it, and there will constantly be some problems that the retail customers will really hard to understand what's happening, what's wrong with it. Some very smart PhD doing some startups, he told me that he engineered like 10,000 lines of codes, but he just feel it's very hard to explain or to deal with some corner cases in the Lightning Network. So Lightning Network, I think, basically does not work as a solution to serve billions of users, because users will not be able to understand those problems in the Lightning Network. It only will be able to solve some rare use cases. For example, streaming live payment, where people watch 1 minute video and paying 1 minute video's fee. It's just kind of very, very rare cases. That's about Lightning Network. So Lightning Network that will not be able to serve the next decade's scaling problems. And the third could be some technologies that compress the transactions. One representative of such kind of technology is Mimbo-Wimbo. That is all the history of the UTX transactions just gone, but we just make a commitment of the transaction history. And at the same time, we can achieve privacy because the history are thrown away. But the problem for Mimbo-Wimbo is also relies on some stronger cryptographic assumptions. And if it may cause the same problem as well as the Kisnak, if there is any problems happening in the scheme, people maybe feel very hard to identify the problem. And it also take away some script or opcode functions from the blockchain. So the functionality of the blockchain become weaker. Maybe lots of interesting use cases like smart contract has to become. So I think such kind of technology is perfect to make a private money and to make monetary transactions happening at a quite a private and fast speed, but it reduces the use cases of blockchain. And the fourth roadmap, I believe, is the most realistic one, is that we should design the architecture of the software, and we make dedicated hardware to make high throughput blockchain possible. We design a software architecture that makes the parallelization highly possible. That if you want to increase the capacity, just increase the hardware. Just stack more servers on top of it, and you don't have to change to rewrite the code bases. And we make all the process highly parallelizable. In kind of we talk about sharding parallelization. That's the way forward. Right now, that's how Alipay, how Facebook dealing with billions of users on the world. Blockchain can also doing this. It will not be huge problems, I believe, for high transaction, high value business to run such kind of node. It's only about server, like tens of thousands of US dollar may be able to stack such kind of server together. It's only about Amazon Cloud, Ali Cloud, and maybe just kind of tens of servers in the data center. It's not a really huge problems if we design the architecture right. So my point of view is that we should make a dedicated hardware and design the software architecture right away, so we can make the parameterization highly possible. Another topic will be, we have been talking about that what a blockchain can bring, what kind of changes can the blockchain bring to us. Lots of people are talking about Airbnb on blockchain and Uber on blockchain. That's kind of an interaction between the blockchain and the real world. When we think about this, there are two directions of blockchain interaction with the real world. First is that the real world's data just being recorded on the blockchain. So what happened in the world will be kind of a mirror events on the blockchain. The other direction is the blockchain virtual events will drive the change in the real world. For example, blockchain Airbnb is supposed to be like this, so that you do a payment on the blockchain and apartments door will open for you because they identified such kind of payments are already happening on the blockchain. But the problem, I think, is quite like if you want to start an Uber without iPhone being invented, that will be a huge problem for you because no one has GPS in hand, and it's impossible for you to spread the GPS devices to so many potential customers and drivers. There was actually someone I met with did such kind of startup before, like 20 years ago. The idea is that they will manufacture the GPS devices, and inside there is a SIM card, so they can contact and make phone calls to those drivers and to guide them to the customers. So that's very, and they tried, they raised lots of money, but they failed. But after the iPhone is popular, the Android phone is popular, and startups all around Uber, Didi, Grab are so successful so easily. Why? Because there is a very, very popular infrastructure for that kind of business. So I think that in this ICO hype in last year, I believe lots of those ideas are just not it's the right time window yet. I believe most of them will fail, just like most of the startups in 2000, the internet bubble will fail. They dreamed about selling pets food on the internet. Their dream realized, but it's not realized by themselves. It's realized by Amazon, by Taobao, unfortunately. I think that such kind of a scenario will be driven by some kind of very good applications that the two-way interactions will be able to happen in more after such kind of first scenario happening. For example, I think the very first scenario happening on the blockchain will be some kind of things that they're not so real. It could be like a virtual asset securitization, like copyright, maybe like some streaming media, because it's not so real. For example, if you have a movie copyright recorded on the blockchain, and all the payments are happening on the blockchain, and hence all the cash flow is happening on the blockchain, the producer of that kind of movie or kind of content can do crowdfunding over the internet. In some kind of niche area, those contents have only maybe like tens of thousands of audiences spreading all around the world. Some living in China, some living in America, they have a common interest. They are so scattered. The traditional way to do crowdfunding or even sell such kind of copyright contents may be very difficult. But with the blockchain, all the people can just crowdfund the content, and then the content can sell to such kind of interested audience. That will be a super effective way to produce new contents that today the centralized Netflix or iQIYI cannot achieve today. Once such kind of infrastructure is running, lots of legal, lots of third-party infrastructure will be set up. We don't even know the detail about it. But after such kind of first mover running very successful, we'll find out more industry around blockchain will be more likely easier than before to just start up. So we need to have very patience. We should be wisely choose the direction to go at the right timing. Another problem I think important for the blockchain industry is about the security of cryptographic algorithms. In the next 10 years, the quantum computer might be very close to mature, and lots of the cryptographic algorithm may have to be changed before the quantum computer become real. But a problem for this industry is that lots of just a concept, just a buzzword. I think that if we really want to do some quantum proof algorithm, we needed to wait for experts to do peer review. But if a kind of a blockchain or cryptocurrency claims that they have a quantum proof scheme, I believe that's just kind of a buzzword, because if you really want to choose a secure algorithm, it needs to go through a very long time peer review. It's better to wait for the academic and industry people to make sure that it's a good standard to use it. But I think in the next 10 years, we will need to face massive upgrade for the cryptographic algorithms. Another problem is that the identity issue of a blockchain. When Satoshi created the Bitcoin, he used the private key, public key scheme to identify the identity of its users. If you have a right private key, you must be the owner of the money. That's the only condition. But the problem for such kind of scheme is that actually it's very, very, very difficult for average users to command those kind of skills, those private key. And I believe that if you want to penetrate to billions of users, this will be a huge barrier. However, if we take a step back to look at the overall problems, basically it's just kind of identity. What if we can use a hybrid system that the users have a private key, or multiple party have these private keys for users, and they combine together. So we will need users to have a very, very similar user interface. Just if you are logging into a Gmail account, logging into your bank account, but at the same time, those institutions doesn't hold money for you. You still control your money. That's quite possible. For example, in November, Bitcoin Cash will upgrade to have a new opcode, op data check say. With this new opcode, people will be able to send a Bitcoin Cash to a handle, just like send to an email or phone number or kind of a bank account number. That's very user friendly, and different service providers will be able to hold a part of the controlling rights to a certain kind of money, and users may just access to the money just like if they're accessing to his Gmail or to his bank account. But at the same time, those authorities doesn't really control the money of the users. That will be really fantastic. I believe the user interface will be hugely improved by this new opcode. But I believe this is only a first step. Lots of new methods, new user interfaces will be invented to help the adoption of cryptocurrencies and the blockchain technologies. Otherwise, maybe we will have to stay in the same situation as if today, that the majority of the cryptocurrency investors or blockchain users accessing their control of blockchain or their money through exchanges. They use exchanges as a big wallet. I believe that's a larger kind of decentralization that we are seeking for. If we really want to protect the decentralization, we should help the users to access the blockchain directly with improved user interface. Another topic that we will continue to discuss for the next 10 years will be the enhanced smart contracts. Smart contract is the idea that is first implemented by Ethereum. It brought lots of attention from the wider world, and of course, you have lots of strong potential, but the reality is kind of different than what we have promised. The smart contract right now, just like those computers have invented in its early stage, it's very limited in function and it's very hard to program. Lots of securities found in those important smart contracts, and people lose money in those smart contracts. And people imagine as kind of an independent, independent program. The smart contract must be able to do lots of interesting things. But if you really want to program it, you find it's super difficult, and it's very easy to make bug out of it. So in the next 10 years, people will scale the blockchain, so the smart contract can have a much more throughput to make more things happen. And the developer environment, developer tools will be enhanced, so developers will be able to program more things. And the blockchain's infrastructure that help the blockchain interact with the real world will also be enhanced. So the ability for blockchain technology to make difference will also be improved in the next 10 years. So we will see the smart contract on the blockchain platform improved, just like the computer itself improved from its inventing. We see that right now our cell phone is much more powerful than the IBM machine that used to take maybe giant space. I believe such kind of progress will be made in the next 10 years. The smart contract will be totally different than what we have experienced in Ethereum today. Okay, let's jump it. Another topic will be the artificial intelligence interaction with thank you. Another topic will be the blockchain interaction with AI, because artificial intelligence mostly is about the data. Right now, the personal data is used by the centralized internet service, mostly free. But if we think about the future of AI, it's the data that makes the AI very strong. So people sharing the personal data free, just like those Indian in America, just sell their pieces of land to some really cheap present. So the personal data, I believe soon, people will want to protect it. But at the same time, AI wants to train itself. So a blockchain will be an important platform for the personal data interactive with the AI algorithm. lots of new techniques will be developed so that people, those algorithms will access to the data without reveal the data itself. Some technologies like MPC, multiple party computation, or some new cryptographic will be invented, so people can feed the AI training engine without revealing the data. That will be very important because that kind of exchange of data will make people still control the data without revealing it. And every training process, the AI have to pay people. So that kind of trade will be much more fair than before. And the smart contract is kind of independent program. There will be lots of AI smart contract in the future that they can get the data from the outside world and they are running on the blockchain. So maybe they don't belong to anyone and they have its own independent personalities. This also will make the future world much more fair because AI potentially have a much strong wisdom and power than anyone else. If AI is belong to some kind of organization, that organization will be enhanced by such kind of AI technology hugely. But if some AI is trained by the data from lots of people, but it's held on a blockchain, so such kind of people can own those AI algorithms without letting some kind of a central authority happen from letting this AI belongs to a specific party. A very concrete example would be, for example, the autonomous driving industry needs lots of data to train the AI algorithm. But there are lots of car manufacturers around the world. If you let only one car manufacturers get all the data from those cars, such kind of manufacturers will have a huge advantage over all other competitors because they can make the most advanced AI driving cars. However, if there are lots of car manufacturers, each of them have its own data, but they can share AI algorithm and contributing all the data together, and the AI algorithm will be co-owned by such kind of car manufacturer. No one will have obvious or undefeatable advantages over other competitors. The world will be possibly better. So blockchain will be a platform for different parties to share the data and don't let anyone to control an algorithm, and the world will be more fair and more decentralized. Even the AI is invented or being developed much more stronger than today. So this is a mining summit. So what about mining? Today we announced that our new generation of chip. BM1391 has been mass produced right now, and it's a 7 nanometer N7 FinFET produced by TSMC, the most advanced process node in the world, and a billion of transistors is on the chip. The power efficiency as low as 42 joule per terahash. This is the most advanced chip as far as I know. Even if someone else make a better chip in the coming months, I think we can come up with an even better one. Bitmain will always be the best in the mining industry. Thank you. Actually, We know that the cryptocurrency market have been a bearish trend for quite a few months. Actually, this bearish trend is very serious. If you look at Ethereum, it have lost 90% of its value. This is a really serious, not a very good situation for the whole industry. And if we look at the chart, Bitcoin have dropped 70% of its price, and this bearish trend have been lasting for about 9 months. Mining during investing to mining during the bearish market may be quite a smart timing move. I still remember the last bearish trend at the end of 2014. Lots of our customers buy our new generation of miners. That was S5 in the beginning of it says S7 in the beginning of 2015. All those customers who bought in that batch of a machine made a huge profit. Why? Because at that time, the mining farm are competing for customers. The maintenance fee are low, and mining manufacturers are selling those mining rigs at a very, very low price. All the bull market usually happens at the most desperate hours in the market. And those machines manned through the 2015, 2016, 2017. It's like 3 years lifetime. So that's all those investors in those batches of miners make a huge profit out of the most desperate hour of the market. Invest in mining in a bearish market may be a good idea. Sometimes I feel quite sorry for some of the customers buy the machine at the peak hour, at the peak time of the market in 2017, at the end of the year. Because at that time, all the miners around the world are chasing for the power and driving the power prices to very high. And lots of new facilities are being built because of labor resources are also in high demand. Those costs are usually very high. But in the bearish market, we know that there are cheaper mining machines, and you will have more time to negotiate the power supplies. You might be able to get lower power prices deals, and there will also be lower maintenance cost and a lower time cost. And if we look at the bear market in the history, usually the difficulty will stop rise or flats for a long period. The lifetime for such kind of battery machine will last longer than the bullish market. If you are in a bullish market, the price rises, but the difficulty also will rise very fast because everyone are investing to new mining rigs, building new mining farms. But if you are bearish market, everyone is freezed. But if you are investing, and you will find that this batch of mining will enjoy quite a long, difficult flight period. Okay, thank you. That's all I.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big round of applause to Jihan. Wow, thank you, and congratulations. Thank you so much for bringing such a great presentation.